Is majoring in music really a scam?
My name is Josh Gu, and after years of studying the clarinet with some of the best teachers from around the world, I am excited to be sharing my knowledge with you. So go to QuickStartClarinet.com or check the description on this video to see all of the wonderful resources I have to help you reach your clarinet dreams. And of course, subscribe to this channel for weekly clarinet and music tips and tricks.
About a month ago, Eric Black, a really great clarinetist, posted on the Parkhouse Creations YouTube channel a video titled, "Are U.S. Music Conservatories a Scam?" You can click the link here or click the link in the description to watch that whole video. Highly recommend it. It was a really great video, and I wanted to sort of weigh in with my 2 cents about the subject. So I actually want to start with sort of my story in regards to the U.S. conservatory system. So I went to 2 private schools, both for my undergraduate and graduate. I did the University of Denver for my bachelor's and Northwestern University for my master's. And combined through both of those schools, I ended up with about $60,000 in federal student loan debt by the end of it, which I think is close-ish to around the figures that he estimates in those videos. It's definitely a bit on the lower end from the average or the potential debt and the costs of those schools. I got pretty good scholarship offers from both of those schools, and just a quick side note, I actually asked for more scholarship throughout my time there, and I highly encourage that you do that because oftentimes schools will be willing to help you out a little bit, and every little bit counts. Going for external scholarship opportunities as well are really good and a great idea. However, that's a little bit beside the point of this video. So I graduated, $60-ish thousand in debt. I am not currently playing in a professional orchestra. However, my career is exclusively now music. I did a couple other like tutoring things, a couple other random miscellaneous side jobs throughout, but right now I'm making all of my money through teaching lessons, doing some gigs, online stuff like QuickStart Clarinet, and some other things like that. So right now that's what my career is. So yes, I am using my music degrees in my professional career, even though I'm not playing in an orchestra. And another complicating factor with this is because of the COVID-19 pandemic, there's been a pause on student loans. So that's definitely changed my financial situation, not having to make loan payments, and that has been very helpful. I am pretty confident that I still would have always been able to pay my loans if I had to have been paying them throughout this time. I'm close to on the standard repayment plan. It's like the adjusted standard one where the payment's a little bit smaller at the beginning and then gets a little bit bigger at the end. But it's still paid off in 10 years and is the second cheapest repayment option out of all of the repayment options. And another big caveat to me being sort of successful or able to pay my bills as a musician is also that I'm married, and my wife Hannah has a job with health insurance, which is another big kicker, and also we've been technically splitting rent between 2 people rather than just one person. So I really think if I didn't have a spouse, then rent would be a little bit more taxing. Health insurance would be a big issue because with the gigging own business things, I don't get health insurance through an employer. Like I said, rent would be a bit more. And without the pause on student loan payments, I certainly wouldn't be in a house that I own right now either. Definitely still be paying rent in an apartment. So yes, I'm more or less making it in my music career, paying back my loans for my individual situation, but there's a lot of caveats that had to go into that to make that happen. So for me personally, I think I got my worth out of my education and am going to be able to pay back my loans, but that's my individual situation, again, with a lot of caveats. So yes, I'm still on the fence about if it's a scam. I want to bring up a couple other points of clarification kind of related to my story and of course related to the video too. The video doesn't talk about other forms of income very much. It's very in-depth about if you're going to a conservatory with the goal of playing in a professional orchestra, which I think is great. It would be way too hard to make a video that covers the scope of everything, but I just want to throw that out there, that there are other forms of income that you can make. For example, my teaching, my online stuff, other gigs and things like that are valid musician-based sources of income that weren't totally discussed in that video. So take for that what you will. The other thing is that your bachelor's in music performance can lead into other degrees. First of all, you can do an actual bachelor's degree in education as well. And that could put you on track to be teaching in a public school or something like that. I'm pretty confident that I make more actually teaching private lessons than I would if I was teaching in a private or in a public school. So there's kind of the issues of the teacher salary there too, but that's another form that it can take. The other thing is with a bachelor's in music performance, you can take that and apply it to other master's degree. For example, my wife has a master's of library and information sciences, and that's a great career path. Again, kind of comparable to a teacher's salary when you get out, but again, that's a more stable job and isn't necessarily using your music degree, but you had that bachelor's in music to go on to get the master's in whatever the master's is needed for whatever career path and field that may be. The other big thing is that video was very centered on US conservatories, which are generally the most expensive, unless it's one of them that everybody gets full tuition, which are very rare. But those are the more expensive schools. And for me, the University of Denver and Northwestern University are very expensive schools. I got good scholarships, so I'm not totally drowning in debt. But they're very expensive schools to go to and get degrees from, and most of the conservatories are. There are cheaper public schools, especially if you go with a type of career path where maybe for your bachelor's you go to a more affordable state school, practice super hard, and then get into one of the more high-end conservatories that you want for the name recognition or for the good education that they provide for your master's degree, which is a shorter degree. Generally, you can get away with a little bit less debt. Sometimes they have more or less scholarship and support depending on the school. So those are all things to consider in addition to all of the great points that Eric made in that video. So of course that title of the video, Are They a Scam?, is a little bit clickbaity, of course, but I do think that we could have a genuine conversation about if they are a scam and if they are worth it. I think there are tons of valuable benefits of going to a school. First of all, you are studying with very good teachers. You're getting great experience playing with other great players in really high-level ensembles, and that is a really valuable experience. Plus, you get to make connections with all of those professors, all of your peers, and that can provide lots of opportunities going forward into the future. Most of my students, or at least several of my students, come from connections that I've made with people at school. Most of my playing opportunities, in fact, nearly all of my playing opportunities at the moment come from connections that I made with people at school. So it is really valuable to make those connections. However, I agree completely with the video that schools are charging way too much for what musicians are getting paid. And I think that original video just highlights that so well, the massive disconnect between the prices that you're paying to go to these schools and the actual salaries that you're getting after. Again, for me personally, $60,000 in debt, and I have not made $60,000 in a year yet, and that doesn't include housing expenses, health insurance expenses, food, all of those things that we have to pay for just to live. So I think there is quite an imbalance between what musicians are making after they graduate in comparison to the cost of living and the cost of these universities and actually getting these degrees. So I don't know if there's anything we can do about it. In next week's video, I'm going to kind of propose a kind of quirky solution to the pricey cost of a music degree. It's not a real solution at all. Again, I don't really know what we can do about this, but I think musicians should be paid more. I think the cost of things should be less, but I can just say that, and there's not really anything actionable from that. But you know, it is what it is, and we're all doing our best to make ends meet, and sometimes that's tricky as a musician, but I think it's generally worth it, especially if you like this video and give it a bunch of views and stuff, yeah. Okay, anyways, I'll stop rambling about my views on the college experience, but I just wanted to highlight this video, first of all, because it's a great video that everybody should watch. I wanted to just add a couple points of clarification and how it relates to my story, so I hope you enjoyed this. Do actually like it if you found it insightful. Thank you so much for watching and hearing my ideas and contribution to this subject, and I want to hear your contributions down in the comments as well. Do you think conservatories or music school or all colleges or all life is a scam or not? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.